What is going on YouTube? Hannah back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we are going to be looking at XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, as well as the S&P 500. So the past couple of days, or honestly, the past couple of weeks, the market's been pretty stagnant. Ever since we saw the major drop that really took place, I'd say November 8th and November 9th, we've been pretty much sideways trading. As you guys can see on Bitcoin here, ever since the major drop and the major sell-off that we've had, we've kind of just been floating sideways, forming a much bigger symmetrical triangle. Now, I didn't really notice this in the beginning. I thought what we were originally looking at was the drop here and then the pennant flag like this that would eventually lead to either a break to the downside or to the upside here. But what I'm starting to notice, and what we noticed over the past couple of days, is a much bigger symmetrical triangle forming here. You can see this is much bigger than we had originally anticipated, which is good because this will lead to a very sizable run. Whether that's bullish or bearish, we're not entirely sure, but we could see a very big pop or a very big dump. I think it's gonna have to do with the S&P 500, but we'll figure this out very soon. The exciting part, and if you watched yesterday's video, I am a very strong believer that this year will be the year that we see Bitcoin at $30,000. I know that sounds crazy here, but currently we're trading at 16.7. So I am a strong believer that the markets should double. We should double in the current price and move up 100%, which means ideally around now, investing could potentially pay off a couple months from now. I am a strong believer that we are going to see this recovery. I'll give you guys my reasons in a second with you. But I believe that's what we're going to see with these cryptos. XRP, we're getting kind of stuck right now, and there's a very good chance now that we're going to kind of see everything move all at once. Coincidentally, XRP is kind of filling in this gap here. We've finally continued this out. We've been waiting for quite some time now. You can kind of see how these symmetrical triangles lead to a drop. This one ran us up, and here we are filling in the gap here, looking for some sort of decision. We may or may not break bullish or bearish. However, you can see we're filling in the gap, and we're pretty much at wit's end. Same thing with Ethereum here, and the same thing with Bitcoin. You're pretty much at the end here. So we are going to be moving fairly soon. That could lead to a correction or a pump, and I definitely want to be there for that, and we will be. We'll also be looking at the S&P, which is forming some very peculiar movements here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what we're dealing with. It is quite difficult here. There's some sort of uptrend now, but I don't really know if there's like a top resistance, a support. It's definitely very difficult to draw here. I don't know if it's like this bottom support that we had, or now it's forming something like this. It's very difficult to figure this out, or it's some sort of ascending fractal. You can see it working pretty well here. It's almost like reversed its pattern, and now we're forming an ascending fractal off this drop. This is very possible too. We don't know what exactly is going on, but we are going to be going in depth about this in a minute with you guys. With that being said, make sure to smash the like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe, and let's dive into today's video. Super quick, guys, I want to shout out my previous video that I made on my second channel. As you guys can see here, my previous video got 121,000 views currently, literally a week ago, which is incredible. I know this looks similar, and now that I'm seeing this side by side, it does, and maybe I should have reversed like where I put the cars and stuff. But regardless, I just dropped another video on two more, on two best friends. I guess they're brothers, and these are best friends. They act very similar. But I did just drop this video this morning here, so make sure to check this out if you're fond of supercars and YouTubers and how to, crack the algorithm. To make sure to check it out because it is quite exciting. With that being said, diving into the technical analysis, and also this channel is linked right down in the description below. But moving forward here, as you guys can see, top 10 cryptocurrencies. If this loads, you can see right now that we are pretty much on another consolidative day. And for the past couple of days, we've been doing that. Over the past week, we haven't really been seeing much movement here. Some cryptos are actually up, so that's a lie. Some cryptos like Cardano are up 12%, Doge is up 4.5%, but the major ones that we look at, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, have not been up. Bitcoin's up 1.6, Ethereum's up 4.7, and XRP's down 0.9. And for the most part, we haven't really been seeing much movements at all, especially today as well. Now, what really is standing out to me is the fact that we're filling in the gap here with XRP. Unfortunately, we haven't yet been able to trade XRP for quite some time now. We did recently trade XRP, or a couple of weeks ago, when we had our major dump to the downside here, and we've had some smaller short-term trades on our Patreon. But ever since then, we've pretty much been stagnant. You can see week after week after week, we've been getting rejected and getting our butts handed to us, with us rejecting from our major downtrend here. You can see even since October here, every time we come into to contact with this resistance, we break downwards every single time. And this has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of rejection off this resistance. And I think it's going to continue to carry us lower here. You can see we have 2 days and 10 hours left before we get some sort of justification as to what's to come here. But there's a very big chance we're going to continue to do what we've always been doing, and that is rejecting off our resistance. You can see consistently here, every time we come into contact, we've been breaking lower. Every single time we come into contact with the purple band, we break down. So when we do decide to break through that, obviously we're going to do very well. And I think that this year we should be able to see retests of maybe 60 to, I'd say 60 cents, 55 to 60 cents. I do believe we're going to see XRP move to this year. I think it's coming here, but I also believe that there's a chance we could fall lower before we see any of that movement. A lot of the markets moving have everything to do with the S&P 500, which we should be getting answers to shortly. But as you can see right now, things don't look that good for XRP. Currently on its weekly, the MACD are about to have a bearish cross. We're trading at 41 on the relative strength indicator, and we're breaking bearish right here. There's a good chance we're going to reject off here and break downwards, and then probably fill in the gap for the following week until we get to a decision time where we either are going to break through the 30-cent support and catastrophically drop, potentially having itself falling 100% or 50%, or we will continue to slide lower, or we'll reject off of it and break through it. I mean, there's a lot weighing itself, but we're not buying in for a long position on XRP until the downtrend is broken. So if this week closes us, or next week we close at like 34 or 35 cents, 36 cents, we can buy in long. Otherwise, expect a 30-cent drop. Now, moving forward beyond XRP, I'm going to talk about the S&P, and then we'll jump from there. You can see the S&P is forming some very peculiar things too. Typically, these fractals have bearish biases. You can see the last ascending fractal that we had broke us down, and here we are forming a much smaller one on the 4-hour, where we have another symmetrical triangle filling in the gap here. This could very easily break us down as well here. That's kind of the pattern that seems to take place. I want to jump to the daily to get a better look. And you can see we're intertwined within a major support area here. This is where we had a triple bottom last time. 1, 2, 3. We broke through neckline. We exploded to the upside. I'm not entirely sure we're going to be seeing that right now, unfortunately. We're getting very close to having a bearish cross. We're getting very close to, and not actually having it on the MACD, but a bearish cross here on the daily charts. But regardless, I have a feeling we are headed lower. And until we can reverse out of this, that's kind of where my head's kind of stuck at. I am more bearish than I'll say I'm more bullish than I was before. I'd say I'm about 70% bearish, 30% bullish when I used to be 80-20. So I am slightly tweaking things here. And honestly, I think starting this new year off, and because we're now entering, we've finally started this new year in a more sustainable market. I'm pretty excited. Last time we started the new year was right here. And you can see what happened. We were so overextended from where we used to trade. You can see the amount of distance here compared to how we've normally traded before, that it was only a matter of time before, the Feds created some sort of movement to pull us back in. But here we are starting a new year. We are fairly high up, but we're not, overextended by any means. We're trading right here, which is pretty neutral. We're fairly, away from the top. We are much farther away from the bottom, but this is okay and kind of similar to how we've traded before. You can see we've had years from 2018 to 2020. We had a lot of this sideways consolidation inside the middle here. And we fairly seem to kind of hang out closer to the middle to the top. We don't usually hang out on the bottom. So we're either typically spending years floating at the top or years floating in the middle. But typically, it's not years floating at the bottom. We don't see this. I haven't seen this ever since the beginning here. So the fact that we've spent typically years floating either in the middle or the top gives me, fairly good confidence that we're probably going to continue that pattern. Whether or not where we currently are is up for debate. But I do believe we are going to stay somewhere around here. So whether or not we fall down to like here or here, which I don't think is going to happen, something like this, I think we'll have a lot of movement in this kind of region here, or to the upside, or to kind of take off from where we currently are to the upside here, which is pretty exciting if you ask me. So we'll kind of see how things play out, but really what I'm trying to say is the drops and the major corrections should be over here, and now we should start to see some more consolidation. And with that consolidation, we should see things like Bitcoin and Ethereum continue to follow suit and follow lead with the other cryptos. You can see here with Bitcoin here, after this major fumble to the downside, forming the symmetrical triangle, we're kind of waiting here. If we can can confirm closing the daily above it, we'll buy in long. If we can confirm closing below it, we'll buy in for a short. It's that simple here, and we'll know whether, which option to do, and we'll obviously update you on Patreon, even though those trades are already out. With that being said, guys, lastly, I do want to talk about BitYard, which is now going to be called BidFi. They are revamping their name for the New Year's here. But BidFi is the #1 buying and selling cryptocurrency website that I like to use here, on the channel. You can buy long, sell short, leverage trade, stop losses, everything you could possibly think of. You can do it on BidFi. Now I have to get used to not saying BitYard and saying BidFi, but the logo is even the same too, so it's really not too bad here. But everything that I normally do and normally trade on is on BidFi or BitYard, whatever you'd like to say. You can buy long, sell short, like I said, stop losses, take profits. The best part is they offer a demo account. But with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. Make sure to check out my second channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.